wanna take it slow. Just wanna let you know. Ready to spend some time. I wanna spend some time.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amaka and this is Ami Lifestyle. If you're new here, thank you for clicking on this video. And if you're not new, thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. I noticed that we've had new subscribers over the last couple of weeks. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And please don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I post a new video. So yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I had my daughter and my baby girl. And yeah, thank you so much guys for all the love on the birth video, all the comments. I couldn't actually respond to every single comment, but I really appreciate all your comments. I think I read every single comment on that video, and I'm so grateful to have such a supportive tribe right here on YouTube. I'm going to be talking about my birth story, and the reason I want to do this is because I know that there's not so much information in the birth vlog. It was mostly about, you know, having the baby and not so much information. And I know that there are people who want information about giving birth in Canada, and also people who are pregnant in Canada that wants to know how the entire thing would probably go based on my own experience. So this is my own experience, okay? So I'll just start from the process. So my family doctor referred me to the maternity center, and then the maternity center asked me the hospital that I would like to have my baby, and I mentioned I would like to have a baby at Foothills, so they referred me to Foothills. So it's better to tell your family doctor on time the hospital you want to go to, because I think I'm not sure that they would send you to a maternity center, or your OBGYN will be connected to the hospital that you would actually give birth in. Make sure you let them know the hospital that you want to give birth in so that they can refer you accordingly. When I was 37 weeks, my file was transferred from my OBGYN office to Foothills Medical Center, where I was going to be having the baby. 38th week went by, and you know, nothing happened on the 38th week. I wasn't feeling anything except for the pain in my waist. When I entered the third trimester was when I started having the sciatic nerve pain. It was really bad. So I think on the 38th week, the weekend of the 38th week, I actually checked into the hospital because I wasn't sure what was going on with me. The pain like increased significantly, and I was thinking that maybe I was going into labor or something, and I just wanted to get myself checked out. So I went into the hospital and they checked me out and said my cervix wasn't even open at all, so I shouldn't bother about being in labor, and that the pain, there's nothing you can do about it until I give birth. So it's actually the weight of the baby on my pelvis, and there was nothing they could do. So I just had to keep bearing the pain, and you know, they reassured me that it would just be only a couple of days more or a couple of weeks more, and I'll be totally free from that pain. So I went back, and in the 39th week I had my second to the, I think, yeah, that was my last OBGYN appointment, where I discussed about the nerve pain, and then we went over the birth plan again. I was going to, you know, opt for epidural and all that, and pain relief, any form of pain relief that's available, you know, I want it, you know. So we just went over the birth plan again for the last time, and then I was told that I could come back the next week, the Wednesday of the next week, that's the 40th week, for a membrane sweep to kickstart labor if I don't fall into labor by the 40th week. So I was like, okay, no problem, I was open to that too. So I went home, and then my OBGYN appointments are usually Wednesdays, and so I was looking forward to the membrane sweep. I've done some research about it, you know, I've read up about it and all, so I knew what to expect going into my next OBGYN appointment. The Tuesday preceding my Wednesday appointment was when my labor started. So I was just at home. It was like around 11 a.m. when I woke up, and it was the pain that woke me up. And so I had actually felt the pain like twice before, but I was so deeply asleep that it didn't wake me up. One of the reasons I didn't wake up is because I'm not someone who usually have like period pain. So I felt like, okay, maybe I just didn't know what it was. I just felt like maybe it's just like a graduation of my nerve pain. Like my waist pain was top tier, so I just thought it was like extra, you know, waist pain just because I'm in the 40th week. So I was like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to have the membrane sweep and possibly labor would start and I'll be free. So I noticed from when I woke up by 11 a.m. that it was coming like periodically. It wasn't just random, and Braxton Hicks also was coming along with it. Like my stomach was tightening as the pain was coming. So I felt like this is my first child, you know, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect when it comes to the pain and the symptoms and everything that I should be experiencing, even though I have read so much about it and I have read so much about what to expect. But when it started, it didn't really click that instant that I was in labor. I just felt like, you know, this is just like part of all the pregnancy symptoms that I've been having. I timed it, and then at some point, so the app was asking me to go to the hospital. I was like, it just started, you know. So that was when I was saying in the video, the birth vlog, if you have watched it. If you've not watched it, I'm going to link it somewhere up here so you can go watch it. That was when I was saying in the video that my phone is bad. I wanted to fix my phone. I also had some shopping to do that day, so I was like, you know what, I'm still going to go ahead and do this shopping. And so instead of going to buy a new phone, I just went ahead to go and fix my phone, because I was like, okay, if I'm actually in labor, I do not want to be walking around, you know, trying to find a new phone, asking about specification and stuff. And the way the pain was coming, it was starting to affect my brain. All this while, I had not seen anything like the mucus plug. My water hadn't broken. There was no trickling, nothing. It was just the pain. That was it. And the tightening of my tummy at the Braxton Hicks. I went ahead and went to fix my phone. And then from there, my husband and I went to do the shopping. So we went to a superstore location. At the location, because I walked so much. Okay, so I walked a short distance from the car park to where I fixed my phone and back to the car park. And then I did some walking in the store. It was a lot because I had to go to all the aisles and stuff, and I was practically at some point gripping the the cart, and I couldn't walk when it was happening. Like when the labor pain was happening, I practically couldn't walk. I would just wait and grab the cart and just wait for it to pass before I would continue the shopping. And there was a woman who wanted to actually sell us a PC Optimum card, and she was like, oh, you're pregnant, like, when are you due? And so, you know, those kind of questions are actually not a taboo here in Canada. So people would ask you about when you're due, the name of your baby. If you picked a name, they want to know the name you've picked. If it's a boy or a girl, they want to know, you know, all those things. So it's not a taboo. So don't think that it's like a bad thing for people to ask you that here. It's pretty normal. So she was like, when are you due? And I was like, I'm actually in labor right now. She was like, what? Oh my God, you're really strong and stuff. But I kept moving, you know, I just kept moving. And I think this is one of the things that really helped my labor progress really, really fast, because I wasn't sitting in a place and going through the labor pain. I was actually active, I was moving. So I moved around that big superstore. We did everything we wanted to do there. And then we came back home and offloaded everything. And that was when we decided to go on to the hospital. So I think it was around like 6 o'clock or so that I went to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, we had to wait, you know, I got checked, my blood pressure got checked, And then, you know, the doctor came to see me and asked me a couple of questions about how I'm feeling, you know, the scale of the pain on, you know, 1 to, I think 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 or something like that. And then they were like, well, they're going to check me now to see if I'm in labor and how many centimeters dilated I am. So they did a check and they found out that I was just 1 centimeter dilated, and they were like, well, you can be at 1 centimeters for like days, like 24 hours or 48 hours, and they can't keep me. So they told me when to come back. When the I think I mentioned it in the labor vlog also, when they asked me to come back. So they said if I'm experiencing the labor pain for 1 minute every 5 minutes, then I should come back, you know, to triage. They gave me morphine and then they sent me home. So I came back home and I was sleeping, honestly, because the morphine would practically knock you out. They wanted me to sleep according to them, and they also told me that if I want to come back for another dose of morphine, I'm free to do so, because the morphine will only last for 4 hours, and then if I'm still feeling the pain, I can come back and take another dose of morphine to last for another 4 hours and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, no problem. So the plan was, since they said okay I could be at 1 centimeters for like 24 hours, the plan was like, let me just stay at home and labor, and then when the morphine wears off, I will just keep going back to the hospital to collect another to collect more, because it really helped, and it helped me really sleep. So I think that the pain actually woke me up, because it was crazy. This was around like past 11 o'clock, and I woke up with the excruciation. It was mad, because when I was sleeping, I was feeling the pain, but when I change position, the pain would subside a bit, so I would like continue my sleep. But this one that woke me around past 11, I could not even hold it. I could not. I woke up, I had changed positions like in my sleep subconsciously. It didn't work out. I woke up and I was like, I changed position and all that. I just tried like move my body a bit just to see if the pain would subside, and nothing happened. It was painful. So that one passed. I think another one passed, and then the third one passed, and then the fourth one was when I was like, this is a lot, because I started to feel so much pressure that I felt like I wanted to go to the toilet. Like there was something just bearing down on my waist, like it was crazy, and I was like, I need to go to the toilet, and my husband was like, you can't go because that's the baby's head. He was like, you can't go to the toilet, I think that's the baby's head. So I had to quickly dress up again, and then we called a cab around. That's Uber. We called Uber, and we started going to the hospital. So my bags were already packed, so there was nothing like packing the bags or anything like that. So I struggled to actually dress up, because the pain was so much, and it was coming. There was no space anymore. Like it wasn't like 1 minute, 5 minutes, nothing like that. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave of the pain. So it was really difficult for me to dress up. I just had to tell myself that if I do not dress up, then we'll have to call an ambulance, and an ambulance, I don't know when an ambulance will get here, and then when I'll get to the hospital, the Uber is already outside. Let me just dress up and just go into the Uber. I just need to try. So I dressed up, I went downstairs, and right at the mail room was where my water broke. Mind you guys, I don't know what a mucus plug looks like. I don't know what it looks like. I never saw. I don't know when I lost it. I don't know, because some people have said that they saw their mucus plug. Some people have said that they do not know when they lost it. So I'm like one of those people who didn't know when when she lost the mucus plug. For bloody show, it was very, very, very little. Honestly, it wasn't like, it was so insignificant. My water broke right in the mail room when I got downstairs of my apartment. It was all over the place. It made a popping sound. It was gushing and all that. My entire pants, my trousers, was soaked with the water. and the Uber guy saw it and he just came around. He just knew that something was happening. Of course, he knew that I was having a baby, so he came down from his car, opened the car door. He was trying to help my husband put things in the boot so that we could move quicker. And then we got to the hospital. I could barely walk, I could barely come out of the car. I was practically wheeled into the hospital. And yeah, we got you know, the funniest thing, when we got to triage again, they were like trying to register me, because they would ask you questions, ask for your health card. My baby. So they'll ask for your health card, and then they would proceed to start asking some like questions and stuff like that. But the states in which I got to triage that period, there was no questions because when I told them that I was in labor, they wanted to start asking those questions. I was like, I've been here before. So they wanted to do all those like preliminary questions and stuff like that. But the way I screamed when the next wave hit me, the way I screamed, they just threw the doors open and asked me to come inside. The doctor immediately came to check me, and guess what? I was +1. So when you are in labor, there are like the stages of labor, or the stations, like they call it stations. So they would always check, okay, 4 centimeter dilated, 5 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 8 centimeter, and then you get to 10. And when you get to 10, you're encouraged to start pushing your, you know, they coach you on how to push and all that. But in my case, I had passed 10 centimeters. I was actually at +1. So that means the baby's head was on the way out. So it wasn't like there was nothing that, you know, there was, number one, I had already passed the stage of getting an epidural. Number two, I was practically having a baby. The way I was rushed to the labor room, it was actually an emergency. The bed that was in the triage was unhooked, and I was wheeled from triage to the labor room, and all the doctors, nurses, they were running. And I think I had just 2 nurses and 1 doctor in my room, because there was no even time. There was no time. When I got to the labor room, they had to start setting me up. But at the same time, I was pushing while they were setting me up. So I never got an IV, I never got epidural, I never got anything. Nothing at all. I was just pushing. So they started coaching me how to push. I was pushing, and then they were monitoring the baby manually, because they hadn't, you know, there's this blue band or pink band they would usually put on your tummy, you know, when you're in labor, to monitor the baby's heartbeats. And they would put 2, you know, they'll put 1 up and 1 down, stuff like that. But there was practically no time. I was pushing when they were doing all that, so it was a bit too fast, and before you know it, I had a baby. And yeah, that's it. How would I rate my experience? I think I'll rate it like a 9 out of 10. And the reason why I'm rating 9 out of 10 is because it was a great experience, but it was a bit too fast for me. Being my first child, I was expecting that I was going to labor for like a longer time, you know, and then, you know, I'll be able to get my epidural, I'll be able to relax, I'll be able to call my family and let them know that I was in labor. But the way it happened, I couldn't even, nobody knew I was in labor until I had the baby. So when I called them, I had already had the baby. I called my mom. My husband called my mom, and all he told her was that I had already had the baby. So it was just so crazy, because I never expected that I was going to have the baby like that. I've watched countless labor vlogs, but the natural one, and even the natural one, I'm usually laughing like, why don't you just offer an epidural, you know? But in hindsight, I kind of understand why people don't opt for an epidural, because my recovery has been so swift, and I'm super happy that I actually gave birth the way I did, and I'm super thankful to God for, you know, giving me the privilege of having the baby the way I did. Everything just came at once, all the pain. Yeah, it was really painful, it was crazy, but I think that women are special, and our bodies are uniquely designed for this. honestly, because there is no way I would have just experienced that pain for no reason. For no reason, honestly. Women, oh my god, women are phenomenal. Like, we are fantastic people. This body that we have is phenomenal. It's fantastic. I mean, I would never have thought that my body could go through that and I could handle that, because all my thinking was that I was going to have an epidural and I'm going to manage the pain like that. But since I couldn't, it was just phenomenal. That's the only reason why I'm rating my birth experience 9 out of 10. So another thing is that the Canadian health system, I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's free. I don't know if it's because I just don't know if it's just the policy, or I don't know. But back in Nigeria, what I'm used to is that when you're in labor and you get to the hospital, they won't send you home. They would keep you for a couple of days to watch you. Like when I had the waist pain, I'm sure that they would have kept me for a couple of days to watch me. But that aside, because at the end of the day, I wasn't given anything, and as soon as I gave birth, the pain disappeared. So they know what they're doing. But when I was in labor and I was 1 centimeter dilated, I don't think there's a Nigerian hospital that would have asked me to go back home. They would have kept me and observed me, and I would have progressed, in the hospital and giving birth in the hospital. I wouldn't have had to come back home and then go back to the hospital again. But here I was sent back home, and the way my labor progressed, I nearly gave birth at home, and I didn't want to give birth at home. So that's one thing that I don't know, if there's, I don't know if there's anything they can do to change that for women who are in labor, because people who are actually going to progress fast, you wouldn't know. And then they might end up giving birth on the road, on the way out or something. I don't know. I would have given birth somewhere else if my house wasn't like very close to the hospital and all that. So I'm just thinking out loud. Everything turned out well for me, but I'm just thinking, like, why can't we just be admitted into the hospital? I'm just thinking, it's different for different women, but they do not know how your labor is going to progress. If it's going to take a day, 2 days, or is going to take like few hours, just like mine did. I wanted to be induced, I wanted my labor to be induced, but mine wasn't, because I was already in labor and all that. So they didn't induce me or anything like that. But I just feel like if somebody had made a birth plan, like, can we try and stick to the birth plan? Oh my goodness. Anyway, just those things, I'm just thinking out loud because everything went well for me. Secondly, I just wanted to talk about the care I received, like, postpartum. It was wonderful. Like, Foothills, wonderful. Foothills is actually an old hospital, so when you go into Foothills, you see that the facilities are actually, you would see that it's an old hospital, but the nurses are great, the doctors are great. You're going to get top tier care at Foothills. I think I was fed 3 times a day. The nurses were always coming in periodically. My nurse was always coming in periodically to check me, to check the baby. I remember that my first night at the hospital, I slept through the night because they were coming in periodically to feed the baby. They were coming like every 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours or something. They were just coming in periodically to feed the baby. I could see them from the corner of my eyes, though I was really, really drowsy. But I could see them actually feeding the baby in the cot. So that really helped. Anything you want. I think I even microwaved some food, and my nurse went to microwave it for me. I think I saw over 10 doctors coming in. Pediatricians came in, and they were coming with their students. They checked my baby. The hearing specialist came in and certified that my baby could hear. The eye doctor came in and checked my baby's eyes, nose, mouth. Does she have tongue tie? Different things. It was quite a lot. During the day, I wouldn't rest, because when you try to rest a bit, a doctor will come in and they'll be checking one thing or the other, or they will be coming in to take your blood for tests. They took my blood for tests. I think the tests The tests were great because, you know, I wasn't told anything. But my daughter had low blood sugar when she was born. So I think after 48 hours, they came in to do another test to make sure that she is good on blood sugar. And yes, she was good on blood sugar. And at the end of the day, we were discharged and we came home. The nurses were great. You guys could see them in the birth vlog. They were wonderful. They were like phenomenal. They were so encouraging. They were so nice. I actually hugged my labor nurse because she told me so many nice things. She told me so many nice things. So after you're discharged, you are going to have to see the public health nurses. They're supposed to actually come to your house to make sure that you're fine, you know, after having the baby. But because of COVID, they changed their regulations. They will check you, they will check the baby, check the baby's weight, ask you about, you know, if the baby is pooing, peeing, the behavior of the baby, and they will also do some lactation if you are interested, or if you're having issues with, you know, the baby's latch and stuff like that. They also want to see how the baby's latching, so they would want you to breastfeed the baby in their presence. If you are breastfeeding, they want to see that the latch is good. Back at the hospital, they would do that too. They would, you know, teach you how to position the baby, and they will check if the baby is latching properly and all that. So you're going to be breastfeeding, you know, in the hospital. And then the public health nurses will also make sure that the baby is latching properly, and if you have any issues, they'll try to help you when it comes to like lactation and also, you know, breastfeeding. They'll give you so many tips. They give me so many tips when it comes to like breastfeeding and stuff like that. And you have to see them. Like when I got home, I was really tired. I was supposed to see them 24 hours after I got home. They called, we scheduled an appointment, but you see, that day I couldn't even move out of the house, so I had to reschedule for the next day. So the next day they were calling, you know, asking if I was still coming, asking if I was on my way, asking how far out I was, you know. I mean, like, calm down. I just had a baby. But they just wanted to see the baby and make sure that the baby is fine and you're fine as well. And then the last appointment you're going to have when it comes to, like, you know, OBGYN, pediatric visits and stuff like that, is your visit back to your OBGYN. So I did that. I think that was like a week after I had the baby. Yeah, I did that. So I went back to my OBGYN. They also checked, weighed the baby, and my nurse at the my nurse there was like, "You're crazy! Like, you had the baby without any painkillers, like no pain management, just the morphine and everything." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's crazy, and you're so strong." Of course, she's joking. We joke all the time. So when she says I'm crazy, it's not in a bad way. Okay, it's in a great way. She's trying to hype me. The next couple of appointments are going to be like vaccination appointment for the baby, because they're not going to give you a baby vaccination until he or she is 2 months of age and above. So at 2 months you get a vaccination, at 4 months you get another one, and then at 6 months you get the, I think, the last set of vaccinations and stuff. So it's different from Nigeria, where like a week after you've had your baby you get the shots, BCG and all that, so people can start carrying the baby. I think what they're doing is trying to expose the baby to as much as possible and just allow their immune systems to fight as much as possible and just strengthen their immune system, because we've gone through a bout of common cold, and she did excellent. You know, it was really scary, you know, when her nose is blocked and you feel like, you know, she's not struggling to breathe. But you know, when you have catarrh as an adult, you know how you feel when maybe probably one of your nose is blocked and all that. So I felt that on a I felt that on a higher level, because I'm an adult and I'm so uncomfortable when I can't breathe from one nose, not talk of a baby. So I was so super agitated, and I was super watchful just to make sure that if she's struggling to breathe, like, I'm on my way to the hospital. I am on my way to the children's hospital, like, straight up. I actually called and explained my symptoms to a nurse because there are phone lines that you can call that is basically for children. They call it early start, like the early start line. So you call and then you discuss the symptoms with the nurse, and then they would advise you on what to do or if to go to the hospital. They actually advised that we go to the hospital, but I didn't go because then there was a high spike in RSV and some other like cold, like, you know, viruses and stuff like that. So if I had gone to the emergency, I was just feeling like, what if we go there and then we catch something else and bring it back home? Meanwhile, I'm so sure that what we're experiencing is common cold. So I was right, it was common cold. The Freedom Mom Snot Sucker was a lifesaver. You guys have to get it. You have to get it. The saline solution and the snot sucker, you have to get it. And then warm baths, no, hot baths, of course, for a baby is hot bath, it's a hot bath. And then steaming, and I got a warm steam humidifier. So by humidifier, the humidifier in the room now, I've changed that out. It's not the one that was in the nursery vlog. Is another one, is bigger and it gives out warm steam. So her room was always warm. I even slept there because the cold passed on to me too, so I slept there. So yeah, I think that's been what's been happening so far. Concerning the baby, yes. So if you've not been on Instagram, I put her name out there. It's no longer baby A. Her name is Annette. She has more Igbo names. She has just one English name, that's Annette, and then her Igbo names are Chidinma Ejawele. So yeah, that's her baby. She's currently sleeping now. And if you know, you know, I want to sleep too, so I don't want to wake her up. She's part of our life now. It's going to be part of the channel. I'm not going to be hiding her face or anything like that, because you still see her on the road. I pray that every woman who wants to have a baby should actually experience this. I pray that God answers all your prayers to actually have a child, if you want to have a child, because it's crazy, it's draining, it's exhausting, but it's joyful. It's so, I don't know how to explain the feeling at the same time. It's, I don't know, you know, you feel so stressed, but when that baby smiles at you, you don't even care about what is paining you on your body or how you've not slept in days. You know. So yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you had an amazing time chatting with me. Don't forget to like, share, comment down below and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.